Hi tennis friends, it's John with Guts and Glory Tennis, and it is another beautiful day for tennis here in Atlanta, Georgia, USA. However, I'm at work, and today I have a very interesting video planned for you. What we are going to do is we are going to look at stringing a Prince O-Port frame using the Pro Stringer Platinum. So the PS2 is what it's known as. It's the newest version that is available on the Pro Stringer website. Guts and Glory Tennis happens to be the US distributor for Pro Stringer. So we bring in the units, we house them, we warehouse them. Pro Stringer sells the units and we ship them out for Pro Stringer. So we are affiliated with Pro Stringer. I want to make sure that that is known up front. We're not trying to hide anything. We give unbiased reviews. The reason that we're with Pro Stringer is because we very much believe in the product. It's a product we first saw and reviewed many years ago, and we've been working with them and continue to work with them and do testing for their future products. But today what we're going to do is we're going to look at the Pro Stringer Platinum, stringing with the O-ports, because we have some very interesting things that I think will intrigue the stringers who are watching our YouTube channel. Okay, so I grabbed my racket, which is the Phantom version of the Prince Port style rackets. What you will notice is I've gone ahead, I'm using Mantis Comfort Synthetic, which is a soft multi-filament string in this racket. This racket is one that I use in my shop for, it's a demo stick. And players who have some arm issues sometimes find this is an interesting racket to use. And what you'll see me doing right here is I am pre-lacing the first 4 mains in this particular racket. These mains start at the head, and the reason that I am pre-lacing is not so much racket specific. In fact, it's a little bit harder to pre-lace the ports, I find, than other frames. But this is a general tip for Pro Stringer. I'll show you in a moment when I go ahead and load it. I'll just show you right now. I'm going to lower the camera, get it focused here. The Pro Stringer, when you mount the frame on here, it has essentially covers that make it a little bit hard to see the first mains. So I have pre-laced, and when you put these covers on, you can see visually it blocks the, I think you can see this, visually it does, try and get this down a little bit lower. I think we'll be able to see everything here. Visually, it provides some visual blockage to the grommets. So this is just a way to make it a little bit easier, less frustrating, and free you up. Now I have gone ahead and I put the racket in already and adjusted it to this racket's particular length, so I didn't show that in the video. I'm just going ahead now and securing the 2-point mounting system at 12 and 6, finger tight. And I need to get the Pro Stringer Platinum because I don't have that unit set up yet. I'll be right back. So I do have the Pro Stringer Platinum unit here, and I'm trying to zoom in to the, there's a tension scale here. We are going to tension this racket. This unit has been calibrated to make sure it's pulling where it needs to pull. And we're going to tension this racket. We're going to go 56 mains, 58 crosses. And the reason that I'm doing 56 mains and 58 crosses is because I always string, or do my best to string to an end result. No matter what machine I'm using, I am more concerned about what the string bed measures when I'm done stringing, as opposed to how I get there. And that's going to become very obvious in this video because I'm going to do some things that are a little bit different. The Pro Stringer, the PS2 Platinum 2 that I'm using today is a very consistent, very accurate a fairly precise machine. And when I say that, it's not exactly the same as a true constant pull machine. It does what I call continuous pull. So in terms of trying to string to a string bed stiffness, or my end result on the string bed, what I need to do is I need to figure out, when I'm using the Pro Stringer Platinum, what tensions I need to use to get to the end result I want. The result the tension that I typically string this racket at is about 54 pounds. The dynamic tension is 36. Well, we give or take plus or minus when we're kind of guesstimating like this. I'm not sure what we're going to find today, but that's what we're going to be shooting for. So in order to get there, I'm going to go 56 mains, 58 crosses. And so we are ready to go ahead and get started now with that underway. Now, okay, so we're getting ready to get started. As you will recall, we pre-laced the first 4 mains because of the visual challenges there. So we're getting ready to go. I am going to take my flying claw, and I'm pulling these under a little bit of just hand tension. I have already adjusted this claw. I'm going to go ahead and put it on what would be L1 and L2. And that's where I'm going to get how I'm getting started with this particular racket. Now, I am going to go ahead and put my Pro Stringer up against what would be, see, this was, I think I called this L1 and L2. So R1 and R2. I'm going to be pulling tension on R2. R2 is also going to tension R1. So we are essentially, with one pull, tensioning 2 strings. So 2 strings, 1 pull is what we're going to be doing here. Make sure this clamp, the flying claw, is adjusted properly, and we're going to go ahead and hit the button. And it's going to go ahead and tension it to essentially 50, I think we have it set it's 56 pounds. So number 1 is under full tension at 56 pounds. What I'm going to do, and I don't know if we can see the machine here or not. Let me take my glasses off. Yes, we can see the machine. What we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and down near this grommet where the bend is, we're going to pull this string that's under tension in towards the frame to charge and put some additional tension on string number 1. So you'll watch the head when I do this. It will make an adjustment because when the string loses too much tension, the Pro Stringer Platinum does make an adjustment. So I'm pulling it, and you might see it pulled up some tension there. That was a fairly significant amount of tension. So I'm going to do that 3 times. 1, 2, 3. The 3rd time it didn't pull up any more tension, so we're where we want to be. I'm going to take my flying claw. I'm going to clamp it off right there. You'll note that we didn't get close to the frame, as close to the frame as I wanted to, and we'll come back and take a look at that in a minute. Now, L1 and L2 are under tension. R1 and R2 are not under tension. So we are going to move our Pro Stringer over here, and once again, we're going to tension 2 strings with a single pull. So I'm going to go ahead, hit the tension, release the claw, and now L2 is under tension. This string that I'm touching is under tension. I'm going to pull it in towards me to charge L1. So we pull it in, charge L1. You can see that the tensioner made an adjustment. I'm going to do it a second time. Made an adjustment. So we've got adjusted. We're going to put our claw back on, up as close to the frame as we can. We can only get so close because of the tightening knob there. Release the tension. And now we're ready to move on. We're going to stay on this side. Going to go down here. We're going to string back up. And once again, and this is the method that I use with the Pro Stringer to start the crosses. I'll tell you why in a minute. I'm having trouble seeing with the hole here. So we're going to go ahead and pull this up, pull this through, and now we're ready to go ahead, tension 2 strings with 1 pull. Still set at 56 pounds, we haven't changed any tension. So it has reached tension. We're going to do the same thing. We're going to pull the string that's under tension, which is number 4 now, pull it in towards us to charge the string next to it. Do that again, charge the string next to it, third time, we're going to remove this claw, put this claw up over as close to the frame as we can, lock it, release the tension. Now over on this side, you can see we have this part of the string that has, it was under tension, but when we clamped off, the tension was reduced out of that. Because we're going to be doing 2 strings, 1 pull, I don't want to have to go around this bend again and tension this part of the string. So to avoid that, I am just going to go ahead, put it in to my Pro Stringer, tension it, and you can see it. I'm going to do the little pulley thing, and we're going to get up as close as we can to that locking knob, and we're going to tie it off, clamp it off. So now we're going to go ahead and do the same thing, 2 strings, 1 pull on this side. The reason that I like to do this is not to save time. You can see it's not really saving me any time, but what it does do is it avoids, with the Pro Stringer, when we pull these first mains, the machine goes up here and it pulls at a very extreme angle. And what I try and do is avoid that extreme angle. And that's why I'm using this method, because I like to avoid that angle when I'm using the Pro Stringer Platinum. So we're going to go ahead, get it right next to the frame, let it tension, release the claw, and now we're going to do the, did I release the claw? I didn't need to release that claw. Hang on a second, I released it too fast. Okay, so it pulled, we're going to do 1. You can see it adjusted, we're going to pull it in again to get tension on number 3. And we're good. Now we release the claw, put it up near the frame, and we are good to go. We're going to rock and roll with the rest of this frame. When we get down to tension measurements, I will show you that these center mains are all going to be in even tension. We're going to have even tension throughout until we get to the outer strings. The outer strings do lose tension unless I do a Yannick's loop. I don't consider that to be a huge problem. With the outer ones, the tension creep does not go into the string bed. That's a myth that's out there. I do try and alleviate some of it by increasing tension a bit, but we'll get there in a minute. So I am now making a pull on a single string. So I'm not doing 1 pull, 1 pull 2 strings, 1 pull tension 2 string. I'm doing 1 pull 1 string. I'm going to do that again. Stay on the same side. I go 2 ahead. Why am I doing it this way now instead of pulling 2? You may be asking. I'm going to tell you as soon as I get this in here. What I have found in measuring the string bed, and I measure the string beds, I meticulously measure the string beds when they come off the machine, again, because I'm stringing to an end result. I use a string meter, I use an ERT 300, I use a Babolat RDC, I even use the iPhone sometimes. But the string meter tells me the string to string measurement. Oh, I think we just bumped it there. Anyway, what I found is that this string that I'm pulling right now, number on this racket 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, does not get up to full tension. A couple pounds, not a lot. It's usually about 2 pounds less than the string next to it. And I don't like that. I want it to be uniform. I want it to be perfect, or as close to perfect as possible. And why does it do that? My working theory is this grommet where it comes into the throat, these 2 grommets are long grommets. We're not at the throat anymore. It's the one where it kind of goes in for the first time in the next one. When you're pushing the string to increase the tension on the string next to it, when it has those long grommets, it doesn't necessarily work out as I would like to, and I've learned that through testing. So what we're going to do now is I've also learned that the outer two, because of the distance, it doesn't always sync up perfectly either. So we pull them individually. So we're going to do that. And we have, I think I bumped the camera again. We have one on this side that we need to do. Now we are ready to do the final main. I do increase the tension on the final main. I still lose at the tie-off. There's no way with this frame and this setup that I'm not going to lose some with the tie-off. It will affect the tension on these two mains. But because this is a multi, I can crank it up a bit. So we were at 56, so I'm going to crank it up to say 64 and go 8 pounds with it. And we'll see what that does. Again, I'm not worried about tension loss creeping into from the outer strings creeping into the main string bed. It doesn't happen. I've measured it. I'm telling you, you can trust me, it doesn't happen. I'm going to put this up here. I'm going to do the same kind of the double pull thing here to put some extra tension into the string, which would be number 7. So I've done that. So we've charged 7 and 8. They have a little bit extra juice in them. We're still going to lose some at the tie-off, but we've done what we could to try and mitigate it to some extent. Going to do the same thing over on this side. So once again, these mains end at the head. I'm going to go ahead, put it in, pull the tension. Put the string up there because I need to. This is where the loop is, so I don't want to put too much tension on the next main. So we go over there, clamp it off, and now we're ready to do our tie-offs. And then we're going to go into the 50-50 method of stringing. Now, 50-50 method is a method that has been around, I have no idea how long, for a very long time. When I was learning stringing, I learned about it as one option. Didn't ever really use it that much. I learned what it was. When we started stringing Prince Port rackets back in the teens, I don't remember exactly when they came out. I want to say it was maybe 15, 16, 17, somewhere in there. I'm twisting my string to put tension on it. I'm pulling in and up just for my knots. But anyway, we were trying, when the ports came out, one of the big problems with them from my perspective was when stringing them, you had to use this tool that Prince had, or a turntable break, was what they were suggesting, to keep the strings from kind of sliding up in the ports when you pulled tension. It would, up until you got to halfway through the racket, the string would kind of pull up in the ports and get out of a line, and that wasn't good for consistent stringing. Using the break on the machine, you still had a weird angle going into the tension head, which I didn't like, because it put extra stress on your machine and your tension head. I didn't like that. I didn't particularly like using those tools that Prince gave where they kind of fit in, or using a pen cap some people used. I did while I was talking, I wasn't watching there. String got caught on the clamp adjustment tool, adjustment button. Okay, so we have released the tension. Anyway, in 2000, let's say, I don't remember, teens, 17, something like that, I started experimenting with 50-50 on the port style rackets, and found when you were stringing up on the port style rackets, you didn't get the string pulling sideways. So I think we were among the very first to discover that. I talked to Prince about it. I called them. They hadn't heard of it. I published a blog on it. There's a blog entry out there somewhere where we wrote about how we used that method. And what I find is with Pro Stringer, it's really the only way to go when you have a Prince Port style racket, which aren't very common anymore. But still, I thought that the video would be it would make an interesting topic for the video. I'm going to go ahead and get my cross string measured and set up, and be right back, and we'll show you how we go ahead and do the cross strings using this method. Okay, so we've gone ahead and we've measured our cross strings. We found the center port on the racket, and we're going to go ahead and we're going to string or pre-weave the first 3 . First 3 crosses in. So I got 1, and then we're going to, after we do the first 2, we're going to make sure that we're even and kind of pull everything through. So I'm going to go over here, make sure our ends are touchy. And since this is a soft, kind of sticky multi, I'm doing a V-shaped pull through there. Okay. And now I'm going to take the bottom side and put a third pre-laced cross string in. And I'll show you what that's for in a minute. This is because we're using flying or floating clamps. We're going to need this clamp off. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get my starting clamp, if I can find that little bugger. Don't know where he went. He's got to be around here somewhere. Oh my world, for a starting clamp. Ah, here it is. Gosh, it's right in front of me. The third string that I put in on the bottom, I'm just putting my starting clamp there. Has to hold that string tight. I'm going to go ahead and put my claw up on what would be essentially the second and third crosses. So we're going to adjust our tension because we're going to string the crosses at 58, because again we're going for a string bed of 54, and with the Pro Stringer, because it acts a little bit like a lockout, it needs to be increased to match my Bayardo tensions. So string number, the first cross string that I put in is under tension. I'm going to take my second claw it off, release the tension, and away we go, sort of. I'm going to go ahead and weave the next string in. With the Pro Stringer mounting system, it sometimes takes a little bit of getting used to. I haven't used this system in a while. I've been testing some other things, but it takes a little bit of practice to get over that center support bar. So I'm putting in that string. We're going to weave one ahead because of the friction. So we're going to go ahead and pre-lace the next cross string. I usually go to the center and then pull up, as you can see from the video. That's the method that works best for me. And we are ready to put tension on the next cross string. And what you will see is that the string itself has absolutely no desire. It doesn't go anywhere near the inside of the port, so it's pulling beautifully. This frame is a little bit, or this claw is a little bit in the way, so I'm going to go underneath and clamp up through. That claw is a lot in the way. I'm going to go ahead clamp up through there. We got as close to the frame as we could on that one. It wasn't perfect because I should have set the other claw back a little bit. I forgot that. So we're just going to go ahead and pre-lace the next one. Kind of come over here, and you can see again how when we tension it, we're not going to get no funky stuff where it's going inside at all. So we're going to release. I'm going to give this a little extra massage action, try and pull up any extra lost tension from not being as close to that frame as possible. We should be a-okay at this point. Put the claw in, claw it off, and we'll keep on charging. There are a couple of thoughts on 50-50 stringing in terms of, do you go part way down and part way up? You can. I have always gone up first and down second. That's just the method I follow. I'm not going to argue with people who say that you should do it the other way. I can tell you that I've strung a large number of rackets this way, and I've never had any problems with frame distortion or coming off the stringing machine not measuring properly. So, or cracked frames or damaged frames. There's been absolutely none of that at all. So I'm not worried about going all the way up and then going down. It works. It's proven to work. As you start to get closer to the top of the frame, and there's less room for your fingers because the bar underneath gets a little bit wider and a little bit harder to manage around, I use my pliers sometimes just to help me get through those sections. We'll probably see that in a minute. I'm going to flip this the other way now so that the handle is out of my way. I'm doing crosses. That in. So we have, it looks like we have three more crosses to do. These three are going to be a little bit tougher for me because I'm getting closer and closer to the top. But the more you use the Pro Stringer, the more proficient you get at maneuvering around that center support bar. And it really is a lovely machine to use. It is a fun machine to use. I love that it pulls up next to the frame. And getting back to that, the fact that it pulls next to the frame and you're not pulling a huge extra length of string, that is the only reason that the 2 strings 1 pull method works with this stringing machine. It does not work with my Bayardo or the Babla Art, or yeah, I have the Star 5. That method just it doesn't work. I've tested, I've measured it, I don't get consistent results. I think it's because of the length of string that's being pulled. But with the Pro Stringer Platinum, I get consistent results on the mains with one pull for 2 strings. So we are now to what will be our last cross string, where we're going to weave it in, and I am at the top where sometimes I have to use a tool. Didn't need to use a tool today, so I must be getting a little bit better, a little bit more proficient. Got the tension there. Get the claw over here. Release the tension. And because this is a tie-off, I'm going to put in some extra pounds here before I pull this. we're going to take it from 58, take it up to like 62, thereabouts. Just give it a little bit of boost because we're going to lose some at the tie-off. And you'll notice that I didn't worry about the tie-offs because they are marked and you have to string it a certain way. But as long as you started the crosses right, it's going to end up right. So we're going to go ahead here, put this one in, tie it off. I may have to put a bigger point on that, but it made it through, persuaded it to get through. Another successful persuasion. I'm going to go ahead and tie this baby off. I'm going to show you what we're going to do down below. There's a little bit of a trick left. So okie dokie. Okay, so this string is not yet under tension. So I am going to take my claw, put it there, release this tension. I'm going to go ahead and pull now, tension on this string. I pulled the string that was pre-laced through, so essentially I'm one ahead now. And I put this claw here to back up because I had to release the tension so that I could pull this through. And we have reached full tension. The machine has adjusted, and we need to go back because I didn't adjust tension downward. So we got to go back to 58 because that's too tight as it is. So I'm going to go ahead, release this tension, release it, it adjusted downward. So it's now 58, not 64. Gotta watch that. And that is all there is to it. We are now just going to go ahead and finish up the crosses. I will fast forward through these, and then we will have an opportunity to see what our measurements are going to be. That will be fun. Okay, so we have completed our last main. We're going to tie off, and then we're going to do some measuring. So we are done. We're going to go ahead and take this baby out and do some testing. And let's see here. I think that, no, here, let's see what we can, oops, hit the reset button on the Pro Stringer. There we go. Okay, so I'm going to pop over here. I'm going to see how much we can see. I'm going to need to find my ERT 300. Our racket is off of the string bed now, and when I do the ERT 300, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 is where we want this to be at. I try and do it the same place every time. Center 9. I'm going to go ahead and push the button and take the reading. 36 is where we were shooting for off of the machine. And we got an error. So let's reset this. Could be the way that I'm holding it. I'm trying to hold it for the camera. Normally I hold it right at the tip of the racket and I hold it downward. It's a little bit different for me. Let's see what we get. 36. That was about what we thought we were going to be at. Plus or minus 1, so 36, 37, 35 would all be acceptable. But yeah, 36 was the target. So we're trying it again just to see if we get a consistent reading. We got 36 again. So that is good. I'm going to take this off the mount. We're going to head on over. Swap the screen. Thought that I was swapping the screen. There we go. Okay, so we're going to head on over to the RDC, and this will be, oh, I'm sorry for the, I'm going to count down 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. This will be interesting because this should be, if all goes according to plan, this should be around 57-ish, 58-ish, and bingo, 57. So let's try again. What this does is it deflects the string bed. It measures the string bed deflection. We go over here, and we can see we're at a 57. So this racket is measuring what we expected it to measure. Now, I have one more measurement that I want to show you. We're going to go back into the stand here. We're going to measure using the string meter. Now, my string meter doesn't measure the precise tension, per se. But what it does, where is my string meter? I'm going to guess that it's going to probably be around 50 to 52 for the mains going across. So I am on my center main, and center, I guess we'll call this right, is measuring somewhere between 51 and 52. Next one over, 52. Next one over, 52. I hope we can see this. 52. Next one over, 50. That might be 53. That one might be up a little bit. Next one over, 52. Next one over, 55. This might account for some of that when I did the outer pulls. See, this one is 50, which is pretty good. And then the outer one, of course, is going to lose a bunch of tension. That's just what happens at the tie-off. So we were pretty much 52 across. So let's see what we got here. This string is 52, which is L1. Now we're on L2. L2 is 53. L2 got a little bit higher. L3 is 52. 52. 52. 52. 48. The outer ones get a little bit funky, and then that's just the funkiness of the of the outer strings. So basically, we can see that across the center of the string bed, even when we're doing the one pull for to tension 2 strings, we're getting consistent results. These are the results that I have been measuring as I have been doing. So what we were finding when we were measuring is consistent with what I have been finding as I have been testing with the Pro Stringer. In terms of one pull to tension 2 strings, I'm getting consistent results across the string bed when using the Pro Stringer because it tensions right up next to the head, that has something to do with the effectiveness of this technique. I'm not sure I can explain what that is, but it doesn't work the same on my Bayardo or other machines that have the longer pull. But with the Pro Stringer, it does work quite effectively. I also was able to show today how the 50-50 method on the O ports is very simple with the Pro Stringer. It got a little bit clunky at the kind of getting started, but you need to make sure that all of the center mains are pulled properly, and they are. I'll double check that real quickly here. My mains, the crosses were 52. My mains are consistently 40. Even these center mains here, they're consistent. It's spot on. So I have no qualms about the consistency that we can achieve with the stringing the ports 50-50 with the Pro Stringer, nor do I have any qualms about the other, probably the more controversial method that I talked about today, which is the one pull to tension 2 strings. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. I hope that you're enjoying this YouTube channel. I hope you learned a little bit of something today. Until next time, have a wonderful day.